Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. I don't know if that countdown clock was working correctly. I have to look into. Was that not working the whole time? Well, anyways, I'm Speculator Seth. Live day trading, financial commentary, political commentary. I got a light. You like the light, guys? I think it looks way better. So yeah, I think we need to like retake our pictures that we got for our thumbnails and stuff like that. Anyways, as always, make sure you give the video a like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so that you know when we're going live. Anyways, with the charts. Oh, why? I have this stupid window up. All right, so overnight, it's actually been relatively quiet. This is the first time in a long time. I mean, there's a lot of movement in there. I'm sure you mean reversion scalpers trading overnight is probably. Uzi says orange man bad. Is it? I mean, I am a little bit orange. I don't know. I think that it's actually, I was messing with it last night. I think that that the camera is pretty accurate, but I can go in and change it so that it's a little more bluish. But I don't know. Maybe we'll mess with it. I think we are still above 127 when I come here and look at things. That's the big thing that I'm looking at. Is we are still above 127. They're having a hard time getting below that, even though there has been some clear rejection on the upside. And they I don't think that the talks with Mexico are necessarily going super well. So, I don't know, guys. Not a clear direction from the Treasuries on the open either. So, this could be interesting. I think right now my take is I'm kind of waiting for spikes of volatility and then trading it down. I actually do think that Treasuries are a little bit overbought here. So, I don't know. And the other thing is that things aren't really lining up very well. Um, like the E-mini is higher today. The E-mini is higher today. But Treasuries are higher today as well. I also know there's a good article on CNBC. It's Goldman Sachs saying that it thinks that the traders are overpricing the Treasuries. So we'll see. So you guys got a bunch of comments here before I come in. Always like to see lots of discussion. Wrong, Uzi, Randy, Lucas, all the regulars here. Good morning. I was wrong about ZB's range not extending down yesterday. Extended by 4 ticks in the last 30 minutes of the day. Yeah, that's a good point. Something's weird about the sudden influx of mainstream media and the government acknowledging UFOs and Bigfoot. And I don't think it's because they're real. Well, I haven't seen anything about Bigfoot, but there has definitely been an influx of media about UFOs. Now, I don't think that there's anything unusual about it. I've kind of been watching this happen as it goes, and it's really the case that one reporter guy wrote a story that was really good and caused everybody else in the media to realize that there's a real story here. And then everybody else kind of saw the potential for it, and so they all want to jump on the bandwagon. Is really what's going on, I think. And I think there's a real story with the UFO thing because there is absolutely something out there, and I am concerned that what it is that foreign governments have created some sort of hypersonic surveillance drones. That's kind of what it looks like to me because these things, they'll be chasing them in our supersonic jets, and then they will just like take off, you know, and they'll be way faster than the military is able to keep up with. So something cannot move that fast with a human inside of it unless there's like some sort of new physics with inertial dampeners, which I doubt. Therefore, my theory is that the Chinese and the Russians have developed hypersonic drones. And maybe our own military has created them as well, but and I think maybe the military is bringing it out now because uh, it's a real concern for them because they don't have any way to deal with it. Now FBI releases its file on Bigfoot. That's kind of funny, weird. But I I think it's weird that there is no ape in North America, but I don't believe in Bigfoot. So I don't know. It could also be an effort by um, government to try and tamp down on fake news, perhaps. Maybe they think that fake news is being given too much credence because they've tried to keep certain things on information under wraps a little bit too much, and they've said, there's no real reason that this information has to be kept private. We should just be open about it, and then maybe people won't be so suspicious all the time. Maybe. I don't know. FBI releases its file on Bigfoot. Okay, so we're above where the open was, but we haven't moved a whole lot. Do we have any important news today? How come I don't have it open here? Forex Factory. Thursday. Oh, we do. We got some good numbers here in 2 minutes. So I tell you what, I have a few bites of food here, so I'm going to just snarf this down here before the news. But we're looking for trade balance to be negative 50.5, unemployment claims 215K, revised unit labor costs negative spot 9% is expected. That's unusual. And revised non-farm productivity 3.6. These are pretty big numbers coming up. We'll see. Okay, well, numbers should be out. I'm not seeing any kind of reaction at all. Okay, so the trade balance came in close to expected negative 50.8 versus an expected 50.5. Non-farm productivity 3.4 versus an expected 3.6. Labor costs negative 1.6 versus a spot 9. That is a little bit of inflation. Unemployment claims 218 versus 250. So other than the revised unit labor cost, which was a little bit of an higher than expected, I don't see anything super significant in these numbers, and I don't see any real market reaction to it either. So, I don't know. Uzi's saying that the location suggests that we should be a bit more directional today than yesterday in ZV. I'm interested about how you get that. Because you have some sort of a statistic that tells you that? I'm kind of suspecting that we're going to move down today, though. I think they're going to have to get below that open first, though. They're going to have to get below 04. They look pretty comfortable here. All right, done with the food. So Uzi says here, directional just means less rotational. Doesn't necessitate which direction. There's a whole section on opening range, location, includes it gives to the day. The stats are in the book, but I don't remember the numbers specifically. Well, so when I'm just looking at the 10-year, the 30-year might be a little different. 30 is much different. That's curious. The 10-year, we are pretty much in the middle of yesterday's range. In a spot where there was a little bit of a bump in the profile. You can kind of see there's a bump, there's a bump. Within the 30-year, we're towards the top of their profile range. Oh, I guess we have the ECB press conference too. I didn't catch that. Conducted thorough assessment on the outlook. We will continue to reinvest in full the principal payments from maturing securities purchased under the asset purchase program for an extended period of time past the date when we start raising key ECB rates. Third, the rate in which each TLTRO 3 operation will be 10 basis points above average rate applied in main refinancing operations over the life of respective TLTRO and as low as average deposit facility rate plus 10 basis points for banks exceeding a certain lending benchmark. Okay, well, that's definitely something that could push us up. Although I have to say, we ticked into 06 half at one point and then fell 3 ticks. When I get action like that on the open, that has often been where I don't do anything for the first 30 minutes. And yeah. You should also note there was a pretty big order there at 154.03. And it looks like they ate through half of it. They may, as of yet, push even further up. I'm not necessarily seeing the impetus for significantly higher, so I'm not entirely convinced about this move up. Out to see if it turns out to be true. I should make sure we're on the right machine. Oh, yeah, see, now we're moving down. ECB will monitor carefully the need for mitigating tools. Further employment gains and increasing wages continue to underpin the resilience of the euro area economy and gradually rising inflation. Yes, this is an action that until he's done talking, I don't want to be in this. I mean, I could be listening to him still, but you're not going to be able to react. You're not going to be able to react to those moves, so I don't want to be in. So I'm just thinking here about the camera now. Now you got me curious. So there's me. Here, I'll bring it over here like this. So I got the cam, and I have it set to 5,500. I think it's accurate, but you can. That's going to make it orange. Now I'm orange. But I can make it a little bit more blue. You can see that's too blue. You know what? I can't see it very well on that particular one. If not for anything else, price structure in CP so far is objectively more directional than it is rotational. Maybe it sticks. I'm still refreshing myself on those concepts, so I'll point it out to see if it turns out to be true. Yes. Well, I think the thing is, the spread has just kind of been odd lately. It hasn't moved that much on my charts. We should check that in here after we do this. Okay, so here's the white balance. So if I turn it down a little bit, then it starts to be bluish. So there's 45, 5, 55. We could maybe do it just a little. How about that? I think that looks a little bit better. What do you think? Okay, so exchange traded spreads, CME. Intercommodity, Treasury, and swap spreads, September 2019. Yes, that's what we want. We're trading September. Yep, we're on U. Okay, so the knob is, I need to zoom in here a little bit, I think. There we go. The knob is 5 to 2 right now. Okay, so what do I have on my chart? Indicators. Why does it stick it up so high like that? Huh? Okay, indicators. Spread. Okay, so I have 3 to 1. So 5 to 2. Oh, and we need to be in 0919. I've never changed that. So maybe there's some stuff going on in the spreads that I've been missing. Yeah, the spread is flattening. Yes. I see. spread 5 to 2 and give me the 09 contract. Okay. And then the, what is it? We do the, I like to do, oh, no, you know what? On this one is, I did that wrong. Because indicators, that's the 2 and 10, isn't it? Oh, no, it is the knob. We should do the 2 and the 10. So let's do ZT and ZN. And what is it going to be? The two-year note versus the 10-year note is 2 to 1. The tut. Is that the one that I really want to do? I think so. Okay, there's a 2 and the 10. And then this last one. This one is going to be, what? Is that the knob too? I never said it correctly. I guess not. I guess not, yeah. ZF, ZN, make sure these are 9s. Then this is the one that there's a bunch of different 5-year versus the 10. There's the FIN. FYT is the one that I like to do. 3 to 2. 3 to 2, ZF, ZN. Okay. And on this one, it's not giving me something that I not change those to 9s. Spread ZT 0919 ZN. Is it not able to load a ZT for some reason? Do I have a space in there? It doesn't look right to me. Do that. ZT. Oops. ZT 0919. Ugh. Oh, we're getting all sorts of movement all over the place. There's still not below that open, though. I guess you could buy 04 betting 154 even in ZB will hold, but it's too risky. No. Yeah, I want to wait. I want to see it. Oh, what's wrong with my... What is wrong? Delta spread. CT, ZN. Refresh. Weird. It's like tick replay on it is broken or something. For some reason, reloading the historical data on that reloads it on all 3 of those charts. I guess because both of these are touched the 10-year. It just doesn't like ZT for some reason, I guess. Duplicate a new window here. ZT. There it is. So I'm just going to take off the tick replay on this and this one. Get rid of these indicators that are related to that, so that it's just this ZT, ZN. Okay. Now it gives me something. ZT, ZN. Okay. They look like they might fill 04. ZT, ZN. Okay. Still doesn't give it to me. I think what I'm seeing there is important though. If I change this back to ZN, now it shows it. How come it's not showing it on this chart? Okay, let's try removing the spread. Of course, I would remove it and that's all jacked up again. Something has probably changed in NinjaTrader and I need to fix my indicator apparently for that one. Okay, 2-to-1, CT 0919, ZN 0919. Okay. Says it's calculating. Still doesn't give me anything. What the hell? If I turn off tick replay, then it shows up. What? Has the dragster ever been this hawkish? It's still kind of holding. I really think I need to just wait longer. Plus, this thing is like really messing with my head. Like, why? Okay, now we need to pull up the. Do some debugging. This just bothers me too much. Ninja script output. Okay. If I come here and I turn on tick replay. Okay. Error. Calling on bar update method on bar 2 object reference not set to an instance of an object. So what is happening is that when I do it on tick replay, the data does not have a value for some reason. That'd be difficult fix. Okay, well now they're pushing below the VWAP. Well, for this, we're just going to have to change it to be the knob. Cool. Well, that moving too fast. Do not see any substantial worsening in the outlook. I'm just going to bring him over here and minimize. Is he still... Oh, Fed's capital in use has a very tight labor force. I think it broke NinjaTrader there. Let's come over to... Let's see if I can find ECB. Filter. Live. There we go. Oh, they have a bank. Here, I'll turn it up a little bit. Until he's done talking, I'm gonna stay out of the market. So, looks like NinjaTrader crashed on us. I'm doing that. No, died, killed pretty easily. R.I.P. NinjaTrader 8, right? You know, I've been watching because now that I have OBS on this screen all the time, I can look at like when dropped frames are and stuff, because I do get a few hundred each stream. And it definitely happens when the market is moving. And so this whole idea that you should go and change all of your DOMs to have the update interval as low as possible, I don't think is very wise, because I have a pretty decent CPU and it can't necessarily handle it all. I think that is Draghi. He's still talking. Kaplan's talking too. I don't know. Either way, this is probably not a market that you want to be involved in. Okay, now do I have to redo all of that work? Yes. Oops, I didn't change the dates.
is what
So 5 to 2.
And now about the mini bot. I mean, I think I've answered this question in the past when the possibility was raised. They are either money, and then they are illegal, or they're debt, and then that stock goes up. I'll stop here. Certainly, the reading that people have and markets have of these mini bots doesn't seem to be very positive. But I'm only just stopping at what I said. It's either money or debt. And
Okay.
there is a third possibility.
So now what I see is that the spread's definitely flattening, and it's happening because the 5 and the 10 are moving down and the 30-year is not.
Claire Jones, Financial Times. I'd just like to address the answer that you gave to the last question about the granularity of the discussion. Could you maybe fill us in a little bit more on under what circumstances would you cut rates? Under what circumstances would you restart the expansion of QE? And for my second question or issue, if you like, I guess, it looks as though the US Federal Reserve might start to cut rates soon as well. So could you maybe just discuss the pros and cons in terms of how that measure would impact the Eurozone economy?
Let me say, it's a reflection that has just started today in this meeting. We're not discussing which.
By the way, is the volume on that good? He's probably like really quiet. So I don't know if that's annoying or. Here, we'll turn him up to 35.
Let me say that we have now, having abstained
There we go.
purchasing bonds, considerable headroom anyway. And we also have the comfort of the law after the European Court of Justice gave explicitly broad discretion to pursue in a proportionate manner our objectives and comply with our mandate. On the other instrument that was quoted was a possible decrease in interest rates. Well, let me just about.
Yeah, I think just based on the spread alone, I think you want to sell this.
There was a prolonged.
But you probably want to do it in the 10-year.
The period of negative interest rates and whether, especially the extension in the forward guidance, is affecting banks' profitability in a way that could hamper lending.
We're actually getting some inverse moves. So like we've moved down even though the volume overall is long.
Many different situations. But in the aggregate, the answer was that so far we see no effect for a variety of reasons. Which, however, is not at all granted as a result if we were to further extend the forward guidance or if we were to decrease interest rates. And that's why the introductory statement makes reference to mitigating measures in that case. The other question was whether the possible rate cut in some other jurisdictions might affect the European economy. Well, it's a question we've asked ourselves several times in the last few years, and I didn't say.
It's back to 04.
Speak about the financing conditions now. I should say that financing conditions with respect to the last meeting, monetary policy meeting, have become slightly tighter. And this is on the account of the fact that stock prices are now lower and the euro has appreciated. The effective exchange rate of the euro has appreciated. And so I think that's the answer to your question.
Mr. Chilala?
I'm Paul Shoda from Lithuanian Business Daily Verslo žinios, and I have two questions, and both related to Lithuania, if possible.
I'm sorry, related to?
Yes, two questions, and both related to Lithuania.
Oh, okay,
So
yes.
I'm sure you have heard that Here in Lithuania, we have a parliamentary investigation regarding our central bank work during last financial crisis. In your eyes, is it a political intervention into central bank work, and what do you think about it? And my second question is about Lithuania's ambition to become a fintech hub, a fintech country. How it seems to you from a central bank position?
Basically don't hear you. So the first question is, can you repeat? And the second is on fintech hub, right?
Yes, the second one. And the first one is about fact that
They turned up the volume. There you go. Good job, audio guy.
Research regarding our central bank work during the last financial crisis.
CV opened in the same area, 153.28 area, for the past 3 days.
Central bank work, or it's not? What is your position?
Let me say, I just can't comment about national developments of this sort, but I can tell you that Governor Vasiliauskas is a very trusted member of the Governing Council, and his independence should be carefully protected. And when I say independence, I mean also personal independence. I think on this the Governing Council is unanimous. By the way, you asked me about unanimity. Yes, sorry, I didn't answer before. The decision today was unanimous. And the second thing is about fintech. Yes, I did say this, by the way, in the brief courtesy speech that I had last night. It's a remarkable reality. It's I think Lithuania is second only to the UK as far as licenses for fintech companies are concerned. So it is a major source of future growth for Lithuania, and of course, future concern for, future attention in terms of supervision. But for example, what I learned in preparing for this visit is that Central Bank of Lithuania has created a sandbox where fintech companies can actually test their innovations. I think, Vitas, you want to say something about that? Please.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting thing.
Yeah, so as probably you know, so fintech is of course on our agenda, and the reason for the latest developments in fintech area is related with the concentration of our banking markets. So and I think we are quite successful. And of course, we have to keep in mind all possible risks which can come with the new technologies, especially cybersecurity, etc., etc. So the question is a very complex question, but as I said, this is one of our strategic goals, to develop this area of the business, and of course we see it as possibility for the future of Lithuania.
Thank you. Ms. Boufaki?
Mr. President, I have two questions. One is on the specific reference to the euro area manufacturing sector has been hit by the headwinds. How far is this worrying, and do you see also structural problems on the manufacturing industry and not just the international trade environment? And my second question is on the Taltros 3. We are going to have further details, but what we know so far with the interest rates that you announced, what is the reasoning behind it, and if you can give an assessment of the banking sector in Europe. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I can't point to a specific structural reason. Certainly, the manufacturing sector and in general, the European manufacturing countries are more exposed to external demand. And so a weakening trade growth affects the manufacturing sector more than other sectors. We had temporary factors before relating to specific industries, you remember. So we had a fall in production, car production, we had other specific, but then there was a rebound. So both the original factor and the reaction to them is either waned or is gradually waning. So it's just the potential exposure. At the same time, as I said, the service sector is still holding on that, and investment is still moving forward, and construction especially is also helped by the mild weather, is also progressing with good numbers. But the key issue is how long? How long can the rest of the economy be insulated from a manufacturing sector that it keeps on being weak? And I think that's what I think the Governing Council had in mind when they said they stand ready. They stand ready to reuse, to use again instruments that, like a lower interest rate or restarting APP, that had not been used for a while now. And but as I said, it's a reflection that started. On the TLTRO, yes, sorry. In deciding the shape and the price of TLTRO, two sets of considerations came into play. One is that the TLTRO should be a backstop. Banks over the coming 3 years will have a series of funding pressures coming from the necessity to issue bonds for complying with regulatory requirements, coming from the need, some banks at least coming from the need to pay back the previous TLTRO. So all in all, the TLTRO has the nature of being a backstop as far as banking liquidity is concerned. And so there's sort of an intent here of making sure that in the future we mitigate potential cliff effects as we may be seeing today. So there is a slight disincentive with respect to the previous TLTRO. Also, there is another intent there. That is to
the action sucks. Yeah.
Carry trade.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is like when they're doing the press conference, I think that a lot of the market makers just get out because you just can't react quickly enough to it.
Very generous altogether if compared with alternative source of funding. So that's the logic behind this.
Mr. Ferris?
And it's really tempting because, of course, it moved and it moved down, and that makes you want to get in, and then what, you get in, and then it immediately retraces on you, you know?
Other central banks like the Fed are talking have been talking for some time about interest rate, for the last few days about interest rate cuts. Whereas the ECB's forward guidance still seems to be tilted towards a hiking bias. Is that correct?
No.
That the next move on interest rates is more likely to be an increase than a cut?
No.
And my second question was on the amount of policy space you have if you do decide to cut rates. Following on from Claire's question, how much further can you go on interest rates, given that you've now found that they're not so bad for the economy? And how much further can you go on QE, considering how much you're already holding in terms of bonds? Thank you.
Well,
he didn't like the way that he presented that.
And the answer to the second question is that I think if there was someone who had doubts about our policy space, today's discussion really makes justice of any doubt about it. The policy space is there, and the exchanges we had today is that if adverse contingencies were to materialize, the Governing Council stands ready to act and use, as I've said many times, all the instruments that are in the toolbox.
Mr. Barfield?
Tom Barfield for Agence France Presse. Mr. President, we've been talking a lot about specific measures the ECB could take against a background of uncertainty, but isn't it the case that the ECB's ability to counteract uncertainty is limited because most of it originates outside of the Eurozone?
Because what?
Most of it originates outside of the Eurozone. And a second question, it's been reported in France that you were awarded the Legion of Honor last week. Does the offer and your acceptance of the award signify that your service to France has been above and beyond that to the other member states? Thank you.
Thank you. No, the answer to the second question is, first of all, I was pleased. Second, the answer is no. It was in acknowledgement of the work I've done for Europe.
I find it funny when the journalists try and give gotcha questions to the monetary policy decision makers. Like, why would you try and gotcha on the Fed president? That's just silly. You got to treat him differently from other. Ask a question about the economics. Good grief, people.
Even when the world or external or internal contingencies worsen and make more difficult for the economy to continue growing at a sustainable pace and for inflation to grow and converge at a sustainable pace, in a sustained manner. So that's the logic behind monetary policy. Otherwise, whenever the source of a shock is external, there would be no point in having a monetary policy. Otherwise,
because gotchas translate into hate clicks.
Acceptance of defeat. And I've said many times.
Sure, but I just don't. I just don't understand how you can ask that question and really think that he's going to answer it. He's not going to answer it.
Expectations are telling us, because of course the survey-based expectations continue being well anchored in the long term.
Mr. Hyten?
Luke Hyten, Market News. Mr. Draghi, on the subject of TLTROs, might the pricing maturity or lending benchmarks be adjusted if it becomes clear that they're not having the intended effect? And my second question was, it feels like we're further away than ever from returning to normal monetary policy. Have we actually reached the new normal? I mean, is the big question now for central banks not whether or for how long to use non-standard monetary policy tools, but rather in what combination and with what weighting?
The second question, is the world more normal today than it was a year ago? Or 3 years ago?
Oh, I like your answer, Draghi.
So monetary policy uses the instruments that are adequate to cope with the contingencies and the challenges that come out. And so now we say that our monetary policy is non-conventional, that we are far away from normalization. We are far away from normalization because the rest of the world and the rest of the challenges are far away from being normal. And it's been like that now for many, many, many years, following first the great financial crisis, then the sovereign debt crisis, then the Greek crisis, and now we have the threat of rising protectionism, the geopolitical dangers, threats that we see every day. We have developments in the Eurozone itself that warrant this. I will answer your second question later on. I have to check one detail. In any event, there will be a press release coming out at the end of the press conference. Thank you.
Mr. Napris?
I wanted to ask about money laundering cases in Baltic states. Those cases show that illegal activities are mostly international, while efforts to fight them are mostly national. Does ECB plan to introduce any countermeasures to fight money laundering more efficiently in Eurozone?
Well, as you know, the first steps towards, first of all, it's absolutely essential to coordinate anti-money laundering at international level, across different countries. There are serious problems of communication within each country, between different agents, the supervisors, the judiciary, and then there are communication problems between different countries' supervisors, between different countries' authorities. What's been done so far is try to give some soft power to the EBA. I think that we should go well beyond this and ideally create a European authority for anti-money laundering with powers, with jurisdiction that would empower the authority to overcome the obstacles that today hamper communication and an effective policy against money laundering.
Mr. Stumpf?
Andres Stumpf from Expansion. I wanted just a clarification on the rate cut discussion. Was it related to the deposit rate facility or the MRO?
You mean the pricing of TLTRO?
Discussion that the members of the Governing Council were proposing a rate cut. Was it about the deposit rate facility?
It was about the deposit facility rate.
Mr. Bučinauskas?
Hello, Baltic News Service Lithuania, Vytautas Budzinauskas. Mr. Draghi, if the European Central Bank decides to increase key interest rates, should Lithuania prepare itself for jumping inflation, considering that Lithuania's economy is growing rather fast? Or should we expect that the growth of GDP of Lithuania will finally slow down and will be similar to that of the Eurozone, and there will be no problem and no need in special adjustments in the policy in Lithuania? Thank you.
Thank you. It seems that the presence of risk, the rising threat of protectionism, the geopolitical factors that are weighing on the Eurozone economic outlook would rule out any increase in interest rate. So that's exactly, I think, what I said before, that we ought to protect the financing conditions in the Eurozone.
We are getting some selling now.
Maintain a very accommodative monetary policy, even in the face of challenges that may materialize in the future.
Mrs. Laird?
Thank you. Laurie Laird, MT Newswires. Two questions, Mr. Draghi. One is, given the prolonged uncertainty that you have mentioned a number of times, how far are we from a whatever it takes moment? And
what?
Also sort of specific to you, you have made great use of forward guidance, perhaps better than some of your colleagues. Forward guidance is an art more than a science. How much does it depend on the central banker giving that forward guidance for the markets to take it seriously? And I'm thinking ahead to a day where you may not be sitting in front of us.
Thank you. First of all, the current conditions are not even comparable with the conditions we had way back 7 years ago.
Way back.
It's about 7 years ago. It's slightly less than 7 years ago. We have
Mexico immigration talks continue at 2 p.m.
many years.
Eastern Time at the White House.
We have both a decline in unemployment and a growth in employment.
Staff level talks.
Labor markets everywhere in the Eurozone.
Do you have allergies to anything? I think I'm allergic to something, but I don't know what. My eyes tend to water. I always have to have like a Kleenex at my desk.
The Governing Council today confirmed the present baseline, also acknowledged the risks.
And it definitely gets worse at certain times of year.
Have prolonged themselves and have, in a sense,
I also got this thing, this contact on my right eye. I have like astigmatism in it. So the contact has to be like tilted a little bit. And they only have so much control over how it's tilted. So no matter what, it's a little bit blurry. And I think that's why sometimes this eye looks like it's like squinting. Like I bet you if I look over here right now, it's like this eyelid is down more than this eyelid. It's not a problem when I'm looking at the camera, but when I'm looking down. Anyways, so sometimes I'm trying to like fix my fix my eye and get rid of the tears to try and fix the contact. This contact is getting old too. I gotta go pick up some new ones today. I ask because I saw you wiping your tears. No, I'm just so happy to hear Draghi speaking. It just makes me so emotional.
For guidance being effective because the way it's been designed and the fact that the reaction function has been very well explained, and in a sense, going back to market expectations, what they are telling us is that yes, the reaction function of the ECB has been well understood.
Mr. Semelis?
Augustin Eschamelis, Info TV. You have been famously willing to intervene in 2012, quote unquote, willing to do anything it takes to save the euro. If the new president, the next president of ECB is not willing to do anything it takes, and we have such candidates, how do you think dangerous is that when and if a next crisis comes?
Well, I mean, it's very difficult to foresee hypothetical events where
See, I think that what happens is, you know, the news in the newsroom or whatever, the guys that makes these decisions about who goes where and everything, they go and they say, oh, okay, here's an ECB press conference that's not super popular, so let's send the intern or, you know, the new guy that gets sent over. And so then the new guy doesn't really know what he's doing, doesn't really know that much about monetary policy, and he asks a dumb question, you know? So you get all these questions that are like, that they should know that he can't answer, you know?
Doesn't change European Central Bank monetary policy. First question.
I had the same problem before it stopped after I didn't touch my eyes with my hands. It went away permanently. Maybe. Well, one thing I've noticed is that if you touch it, if your eyes are watering, the more you touch it, the more that they'll water. That's why I do it with a Kleenex, because if you do it with your hands, then it gets worse.
Different jurisdictions, different economic environments. So central banks react to their economic situations. And, for example,
Well, I would have liked to have sold it at 04 so that I could take it 04 to 127 even, but press conference. I didn't know that there was a press conference today.
Each jurisdiction is different. And I believe that today's discussion shows exactly this point, that there is confidence in the present baseline, but also clear acknowledgement of the risks and the beginning of a granular discussion about what to do if adverse contingencies, one of which is exactly cutting interest rates further, if adverse contingencies were to be realized. The other question relates to our mandate. It's not our task to decide our mandate. It's the legislator's task. Some time ago, however, I can say that some time ago, there was a research showing that regardless of what the mandate says, in other words, what has only price stability or employment as well, central banks, by and large, have produced the same outcome in terms of price stability and employment. So whether in practice this is going to make a big difference, I don't know, because this research, by the way, it's not recent. But still, if I look at our own experience, given the circumstances in which the last few years have evolved, all our monetary policy was constantly utilized for obviously for price stability as our mandate requires, but also it was in the direction of creating more employment. If you look at the employment numbers, over the space of 5 years, 10 million new jobs have been created. And so do you really need a mandate for doing that? Or it just happens because you do monetary policy that's oriented to price stability? I don't think ever so many jobs being created in such a short time in this part of the world.
And the final question goes to Ms. Weisbach, please.
I'm not sure whether it's better without the mic.
Yeah, perhaps. Try.
Okay. My first question is about inflation expectations, because clearly, despite all your efforts in the past, inflation expectations are close to record lows. Are you concerned about a potential shock which then would lead to a disanchoring of those inflation expectations? Is it that the reason why you now mention all these instruments available? And the last question is a broader one, because there are some people who are suggesting that we are experiencing or witnessing currently a period which can be compared to the period before the Cold War started, like a division of the world between the West and the East. This time it's the US and China. Are you concerned that, like, say, in 10 years' time, we're going to still have protectionism in place, tariffs in place, and more or less are headed towards a clear division here? Thank you.
Thank you. On inflation expectations, I think I've commented before. Of course, we are concerned, but we don't see signs of the anchoring, frankly. And we see no probability of deflation as well. That's why on other occasions, I made the point of stressing that the Governing Council is not resigned to having a lower rate of inflation forever, and not even for now, in fact. So all policies are oriented towards having a set of expectations, market-based expectations, because as I said, survey-based expectations continue to be anchored at a level of 1.6, 1.7 in the long term. But also market-based expectations, which would
That was a clean move in job claims and NQ.
with the policies we have and with the
Looks like the will stop at equities open, like you mentioned the last time. I don't remember what you're talking about now. Oh, that the press conference will stop before equities? Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's probably this last question. They'll cut it off really quickly.
What markets are seeing in the future and what people expect. And you see, you compare surveys with market-based expectations, surveys expectations, both for growth as well as stock prices, earnings, inflation. The fall in inflation expectations, I was saying before, happened also in other parts of the world, probably not by the same amount and certainly starting from higher levels, but it did happen. So markets appear to see something bigger than simply trade disputes. And whether this is correct or not, certainly this is what they price in the future, in their future transactions. And certainly, so the broader issue, do they see a disruption of the order which goes beyond trade? I wish not. And certainly, but we have to be, from our side...
Markets are seeing something bigger than a trade dispute, is what's going across the wires now from the comments that you just made.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Biden's 2020 campaign mired in crisis as zero hedge. Okay, so that's it. They're all packing their stuff up. There's the equity open. Oh, it's so weird to have the sound off now and not have that background noise, and it's like, what? Well, I don't like taking trades right around the equity open, so let's see. We're getting a little bit of a propensity to maybe try and sell the E-mini, but the treasuries really look like risk on. So one of the things I'm finding interesting here, if you look at my indicator here, it's you're getting these spikes up and it's not resulting in up price movement. So it really looks to me like somebody is there's a big seller putting pressure and is just absorbing any of the contracts that are long and forcing people to take them off. Now there was some significant selling there across the board. So that might have been some puking. So I wouldn't mind taking it at like 127. I wish they didn't mess with treasuries as well. Yeah, and the thing that I hate about being in a trade, I mean, if I'm already in a trade and I have like 2 ticks profit, then it doesn't bother me, because at that point, I usually means that I have a good read on which direction that the E-mini is going to go. And unless the E-mini like completely changes the expectations, I usually get what I get. But if you take it like just at the E-mini, then there's a really good chance that it's going to tick up and down on you. You know, it's never going to hold that spot. And so even if you're right, you know, you might have a tick of adverse excursion. And then if you're wrong, it can very quickly go to -4 on you, you know? So that's why I think it's better if you're not in a trade to wait until 5 minutes, if not 15 minutes after the equities open before taking a trade in the treasuries. And frankly, there's usually a good trade at 8 o'clock. So, you know, when we haven't taken a trade today yet, I don't know if I'm going to. They might move down too much. I would like to take 127. But what I'm seeing right now, that's interesting. When I put an order in there, it fiddled. See, selling it at 31, which is like basically the low, would be very difficult. I think, though, that they're probably going to go for the low of the day at some point. Okay. So I'm noticing that there's maybe too many people in the queue here at 127. What I'm seeing right now is divergence and no clear sign of when ZN might stop. Yeah. When you're seeing some buys and then they don't follow through at all, and then eventually they push down. Like what just happened there, I got filled and now 31.5 goes offer almost immediately, and 31 is pulling easily. The E-mini is selling though. I wouldn't say that it's a ton, but the E-mini is selling. So that's not necessarily good for us. I can just do that. Oh, I guess maybe they would have given us the 2 and then some. Boo. thing on my screen there. Probably need to clean it a bit. Well, now I wish that I hadn't have just taken the one on that. Don't think they're going to come back up for me again. Interesting they tick up there as E-mini is hitting highs. Not session highs, but not extended session highs, but highs since the open at least. They're now above the open price. You would think that they would be selling down another tick. Maybe if stocks get going, these bonds will start heading south again. It's kind of weird. They seem a little decoupled. Kaplan didn't do the Treasury bills any favor. I remain in the camp of no June cut. It's been kind of an odd day. Okay. So there's an uptick again. That uptick happened just as the E-mini was kind of turning there. So that concerns me a little bit. Okay, well, they didn't put up a strong bid at 127 even. But I don't think I can hold this. I think what just happened there shouldn't happen. In fact, I could almost consider buying it there. I don't think I will. Okay, well, those are the downtick. So that one, the kind of the thing is I'm looking for a spot that's going to hold. 127 seems like it's a spot that you could take a trade from, right? Like key level and everything. But is it actually showing a propensity to try and hold something? If we ticked up and then they tried to push it back down and they had a hard time clearing that offer, but they're not at all. It's just robots trading it right now. Well, that time they stacked a little bit more. And now it's equal on both sides. And the E-mini is moving up and the treasuries aren't really reacting to it. Well, okay, there they finally did. So I suppose that trade could have worked for a tick. But now you see they tick back up and it's pulling again. And the E-mini had a really big rush there. That was a little bit too much. ECB forecasts assume oil price of 68.1 a barrel in 2019. That was kind of a weird move up in equities. I wonder if that was a stock-specific news item that I can't see. Yeah, see they take it again. That time they bought everything that was being offered. And the 0.5 is now being finicky as well. And there's a lot of volume coming into the 5-year. This is going to be interesting. Equities are in a spot where if they really get a good sell, say below 28.20, it could really mess with the market technicals and turn things extremely negative again. Stock Twits says, the market is washing out weak names this morning at Home Group. A big box retail chain is down 43% today. Uzi took a quickie long 26 out 27 on 4 contracts. Good catch. Do you think it's a good idea to trade from a high-powered laptop? I found a smaller 17-inch screen helps to keep better track of the DOMs. That's interesting. I mean, compared to your desktop, I mean, the thing is if you're gonna like go on vacation or something, and you want to still trade it, it can totally work on a laptop. Especially if you, you stick it onto the high performance power plan. So there's always like that little battery icon in the system tray. And you click on it and you can change the power plan and you change it to the high performance power plan. Because with the other power plans, what they will do is they will throttle the CPU based on usage in order to save power. And that means that when you get a big market rush in there, the CPU doesn't handle it until it's already over. Funniest thing, big ES volume at 28.34.50 and 28.34.25. It popped up on the DOM and ES paused there, took the long. Interesting. You saw that volume rush and faded it in the Treasury. That's a good call. I thought of that myself. Well, like that's what I was kind of thinking when I said maybe I could take it long at 127. Although, if I was long at 127, even I would not have been filled at half. Well, actually, I think it cleared it once, but it only get one. So I don't know if that's a super amazing trade either. That's maybe just another one ticker. Albo D. I don't know how to say this guy's name, but he's been in Discord the past few days. Albo B Doby. So that's how I'm going to say it. I'm just going to call him Doby. Doby says we could be in for a massive chop day as well. I think so. Yeah. Wrong says I got it in 2832. I'm assuming he means short. I mean, otherwise he wouldn't have said it like that. He would have said it like, "Oh man, I got in at 2832 and it's already four against me." Oh, what did live action say? I missed that. I had a friend who worked for a large hedge fund owner, and he would laugh because he would see him take trades off a small laptop. That is interesting. Do it like that. There we go. Okay, well, there's half cleared. There, see this, it's still that the sellers seem to want to sell it. It looks like, though, that it's only above 127 even that the seller starts to show up. Dobie says, I agree. Bearing some obscenely dovish Fed speak or Trump going off, I think bonds will be contained. ZB looks like it's still in the mood, though. That's definitely the flattenings that we've been having. So that's the other thing is, as long as I continue to see flattening in the spread, I think I would prefer to see treasuries go long and overextend. I should really spend next time that we have a free day to program, we should fix up our spread indicator, because right now it's like the most basic, and we could add it so that it draws candlesticks, and we could change it so that it rolls over for us. Your long call in the treasuries. And I don't know if I necessarily called it long, but I'm still of the mind, let's see them overextend. Because why are they moving up? Doesn't really, there hasn't been a news headline. The E-mini's not falling apart. Although they did, the last the last overextension push in the E-mini was higher, which means that it's likely that the shorts have it right now. They can't get it below the open, though. I have to have a push below the open first before I get too excited. Okay, that's a little bit better. There's 4. But here on the Treasuries, we're right at the VWAP, and we're well below the open. So some of my higher time frame indications that I tend to look at are saying that we are more likely to that upside could be limited. Like in order for treasuries to continue moving up, I think that you would really need to see some really scary risk off action in equities. Right now, that doesn't really look like that to me. So I would be looking at it from maybe they overextend. At the moment, that's a no, but Neil Woodward's fall from grace could be a systemic moment for fund management industry. There's one tick above the VWAP. That's pretty normal for them to extend there. RTY just broke European open low. Equities, well, the S&P 500 is definitely below the open price now. So let's read this story while I'm waiting here, because I don't think I want to be involved in this. I might be missing a really good move. We'll see. They are up to the last pivot now as well at 03.5. Redemptions from Woodward's flagship fund were suspended to allow the manager time to reposition the element of the fund's portfolio invested in unquoted and less liquid stocks into more liquid investments. Then it got worse as a shocking blocking of redemptions from Neil Woodward's $3.7 billion Woodward Equity Income Fund after serial underperformance led to an investor exodus continued sending shockwaves across U.S. asset management arena 2 days after it was first reported. I can't remember anything quite like this, said Peter Walls, veteran manager of the Unicorn Master Trust Fund. After trading in Woodward's fund was suspended, I mean, going back over decades, really, there were quite a few funds that just didn't pick up the telephone and suspended dealing in the dark days of the crash of 87 and black money and all that, but this is quite big stuff. And now the fallout from the post-mortem, perhaps premature as this is far from over, begins. Is Shard Capital Bill's blame reflects on Neil Woodward's fall from grace. It's a tad cruel, but a few months ago I was at a meeting at the University Investment Management Advisory Group, and we were reviewing post-grad research proposals. One of them was a semi-serious proposal to analyze Neil Woodward's performance, a fund manager. The aim would be to rate Woodward by investments as reliable sell signals. By the way, they did touch 04 there. So that was a good 8-tick move up. I would like to see a sell still, but I'm not. You don't want to stand in front of something like that. There was a pretty big. There was 4K there traded in ZF. We may yet get our sell. Woodward's tumble from grace may prove to be a systemic moment for the fund management industry. Other funds set up to mimic Woodward have also gated themselves. I would not like to be Hargreaves Lansing or St. James when customers start to question fee arrangements and their roles directing them into Woodward funds. The Investment Association is cornered about the reputational damage Woodward's done to the retail investment sector. The FCA wants to know if Woodward broke rules capping investments in unlisted assets. Maybe not, but he clearly arbed them. The old days, bond floor traders would be on their way to the golf course now after your call. That might be the truth. Feedback, thoughts. Hey Josh, let me see here.
What's going on YouTube?
Oh, I will pause that. I tell you what, Josh, I will make sure I look at that when I get back, and I'll give you a good subscribe there too. But when I get at work, I'll take a look, all right? Now, which channel is that coming from? I'm confused now. Because it wasn't in the interest rates channel, so I thought that I only had it set up to show the interest rate channel. Oh, it must have been in the stream channel. Ah, yes it was. I like that. Okay, I'll take a look a little bit later. I find this move is really mean. Uzi says still left money on the table. I was out at 27, so no attaboys there. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, that was a really odd move, don't you think? I guess it's not unreasonable to see something like that move up, and you seeing the long volume in and see a trend materialize. It's just not been the way that it's been behaving the past 2 weeks or so, right? The last 2 weeks or so, they really require a reason for them to buy. And then when they do buy, it's like total insanity. This has just been a nice clean trend up to 04. And I'm not sure I really see a reason for it. Although the 5 years just seems to be continuing to push through. And now a trend like that makes me look over there at the E-mini and think, maybe there is a short there in the E-mini. As they're dangerously close to the regular session low. Now, on the split side, does that mean that if equities overextend and buy up to the open, that we could see a real flush? I picked the wrong spot. Should have done 25 or 50. It looks like that they're done. Yeah. Okay. I think that I picked a very, very bad spot there. I only have 06 as target in CB. In some ways, yeah, in others, no, it was a clean VWAP bounce. Well, now the strange thing is that the 5-year is at its VWAP, just a little bit above it. So you would not necessarily be unreasonable to see a VWAP bounce here lower. Okay, see this. See, here's where I should be taking the short in the E-mini if that's the trade that we actually want to take. Right there. Also, I'm not getting, we usually get like the 8 o'clock trade. I'm not necessarily getting it. My robot's not doing it today. Okay. This should really be like way down there if this is actually what's going to happen. And then beyond that, it could be down to 12, so wouldn't get too excited yet, though, because they might flip on us. Are you paying your robots enough? Well, the robot hasn't actually made money yet, so I haven't really paid. Oh my gosh. So this I have a friend on Facebook, and they're like, hey, I know I have this friend, he's in a company, and they're making a robot, and they're looking for people to have the robot follow them around. So I'm like, wait, is this for real? And like they have like a little group. Of course, it doesn't mean that it's for sure that I'm going to be chosen to be in there and everything. It kind of seems like one of those things that like sounds great in concept and then it doesn't actually happen for whatever reason. But yeah, they got this robot, and the concept of the robot is the robot is like your backpack. So you put your stuff in it and then it just follows you. Isn't that something? So I hope it happens. I hope I get to have a robot follow me around for 6 weeks. That would be awesome. And I'll tip him. I'll definitely tip that robot. Come on. You carry my stuff. Treat him like a super fancy butler and everything. Thank you, my good sir. That'd be great. So this Woodward guy sounds like he was buying a lot of really small cap stocks. That's kind of not cool. Your parrots might freak out though. You know, I have a vacuum robot, and sometimes when it's bumping into the cage, the baby bird kind of gets a little upset, but they don't seem to mind that one too much. Anything in the air, though, oh my gosh. So we bought like it was like one of those crappy drones that didn't last very long and it didn't work very well. Is that what I have to take? I don't think so. Anyways, that anything that is in the air, anything that floats, like they have complete fit. Like a balloon, oh my gosh, that terrifies them. They sound the alarm. I don't think that they're going to give me 4.5. They want to tax robots. Yeah. I don't understand why people in our society today are so just don't trust markets to sort things out. You know? It's like if robots do all of the work, then the work is, not going to be worth very much. Sure. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be other opportunities that are maybe worth something. And you don't think that you're going to benefit from everything being like so dirt cheap? Come on. Otherwise, the whole thing would just, nothing would happen. The market will always find a way in the long run to make money. So the idea that it's just going to come along and, once robots take over, the whole economy is going to fall apart is just nonsense to me. There's a little bit of selling here in the E-mini again. Sucks, but they seem to not like me this morning. Fine. So waiting for a fill like that is either really good or really bad. Eventually robots will keep them. Well, I don't think that. Here's the thing. I mean, we like to say that the market is efficient. Like the efficient market hypothesis. The issue I have with the efficient market hypothesis is that efficient is a relative term. Efficient, the most efficient way that we know of today to price things? Sure. But is that really that efficient? It's not. In the terms of that, what most people think of, it's not very efficient at all. Man, I'm always so pissed if I could have gotten filled at 0.4. That is not the way that this is supposed to be happening. And E-mini is in a very uncertain spot. Automation, that's the word, as inevitable as necessary. Yeah. Well, I think that it is inevitable, for one. But it's just kind of like, okay, let's just take for granted for a second the idea that automation is going to have very significant and potentially negative effects on our economy, and that things about the economy are going to have to change in order to adjust to automation, right? I don't like that bid keeps showing up at 04, but then it pulls. Anyways, why is it that if you're looking for how are things going to change, that these people are always, their first thought is socialism? You know what I mean? Each one of us has its own perception of reality, and we all fight to be the ones who are right. Markets are no different. As long as the liquidity is there, markets will be efficient enough. Yeah. I think efficient enough is a great way of putting it. Well, the E-mini there is kind of turning down again. It's kind of like, because I sold at 27.28, and that was kind of more of the move that I would have liked to have seen for me. They pushed down there and they just pulled back, and Treasuries ticked down again. Okay, and now 0.5 goes offer. Nobody's traded into 0.3, but that's relatively significant. As long as I make money, markets are efficient to me. But that's why I don't like the efficient market hypothesis. Because if you take it at face value, and I'm not saying that it's necessarily wrong, I'm just saying that it's not helpful for the mindset of scalping, right? Because from their perspective, the market is efficient. Everything that we know about that particular commodity is already priced into the stock. Then there's no point in taking a trade on anything. Because the efficient market hypothesis, when presented that way, basically means that you can have no edge unless you are a really big person that is about to buy, and you know that that really big person is about to buy. You know. But my perspective is that 90% of people that are putting orders in there have no fucking clue what they're doing. And that a lot of market movement is completely random. And even the people that really know what they're doing are making educated guesses, spitballing, making decisions based on relative value, and they don't really know exactly what something is worth. And it takes markets, sometimes days, to fully work out the effects of a particular news item on the markets. And so if it takes days and most market movements are random, then are markets really that efficient? I would say no. I would say that they are more efficient than other means of pricing, but I would not consider them to be extremely efficient. You know, on an absolute basis. They're only efficient on a relative basis, basically. Well, I had an iceberg on my price at 04, but they got through it. Okay. Well, the 04 goes offer again. If we can get a downtick, I think I'd be in a pretty good position, but of course they can make it difficult every time. And equal here. Bid offer equal. With algos at 80% of the market now at this rate, retail won't move nothing. Well, I mean, that's the thing is I don't think there's kind of this idea out there. You can't compete with the robots, right? Now, for certain types of trades, like if you're trying to do a scalp for just one tick, and it's based on catching the edge or something like that you used to do, then yeah, you can't compete with the robots because they're too fast. But does that mean that we should just let the robots completely take over the markets? It should only be robots and fund managers at that point, and that's what the market should be. I don't think that that's a very sustainable market. At some point, you need to have humans in there because the robots, honestly, the robots are just basing their actions off of what they see the humans do. They see what the humans do in the market, and then they back test everything and figure out the best way to trade based off of that. You still need people, you know? And you still need retail traders. It's a good thing that they're working to try and get more retail traders in, because I think that could be a big issue if they don't, continue to get more people in. Yeah, and the market needs losers. That's that too. But it's like these flash crashes that we've had. When the robot starts doing poorly, they turn it off, and then there's no liquidity. That's very bad for the markets. And then they really need us. And I've found those periods although it's hard, I've found those periods overall to be profitable. So I don't know. But when you think about it, going back to the efficient market hypothesis, right? Do those robots know, that Donald Trump said something and here is all the nuance about what he said and what it means for markets? No, not really. They don't really have a clue. And so, again, most action is random. And they're just picking the edge out of the noise. You still need people to price things. Well, the E-mini is just kind of bouncing along here sideways, which I'm not too fond of. And the treasuries do seem to indicate that we could go a little bit lower, but that bid, they're not hitting it. They don't seem to want to hit it. They totally make robots that scour Twitter for keywords and phrases. Yeah. Remember that time when Donald Trump said something? That was like 2 weeks ago. He tweeted about something, and the market was like, oh, okay, it's good. We're not going to have like a trade war. And I said, that's not positive, because he's basically like doubling down on tariffs at this point. And sure enough, a few days later, we moved much, much lower. I really think that the Twitter robots read his tweet and made a decision on it, and that was wrong. And the market just went along with it because they didn't think it through. Because when you see something and then you see a clear move in the market, nobody wants to fight that, right? Remember when one of those Kardashian girls said they were quitting Snapchat or whatever, and it hit the market instantly? Oh, yeah. That's maybe that's a good way to trade, is to go and try and make your own Twitter robot, and then find all market events that appear to be correlated with Twitter activity. And then from a discretionary perspective, look at it and see if the robots actually got it wrong, and counter trend trade the ones that they get wrong. There might be some edge in that. That would be really hard to do, though, because one, you're counter trend trading against really strong trends, and two, it would require a lot of programming expertise to make an algorithm that complicated. I'm guessing that the algos out there that are doing that sort of a thing weren't written by one guy, you know? And that's probably something for a team of people. Okay, so they made O4 go bid. It's still fighting them a little bit. Yeah. Still fighting them a little bit, but it appears a balanced and maybe a little too balanced, frankly. And how long have I been in it for now? I've been in it for 12 minutes. I have gotten a favorable tick out of it at one point. But that right there, I think, okay, that stacking to 2 is not a good thing. Yeah. The E-mini is just a meat grinder. RTY was the trade. So that's interesting live action. I think that you're pointing out something really important because I remember at the Open they were saying that some of the small weak names were getting hit really hard. So it looks to me like there is a flight to value right now in the equity indexes. Wow. The E-mini has been selling through most of this range. How is that? How is that? How can she sell? How can she sell? The market opened without me, says Ace. Of course we opened without you. Now, if we had to wait for you, we wouldn't be able to trade half the time. So some days he doesn't even show up. You think we're gonna wait for you? Come on. I do not like that iceberg there at 04. No, sir. She will leave you just like that, yeah. This goes back to that analogy that I have in my video about which futures product should you trade, and that the equity indexes are like the popular girls at school. Okay? Like, if she's even given you a chance, you should be grateful. She has plenty of options, you know what I'm saying? She ain't gonna wait for you. Well, I'm having a hard time getting filled here, and I may be in the position where they're going to fill me in and then go through, or just not fill me at all. You see, that E-mini is just like so on the edge there. Good effing grief. They're quite hesitant to go, aren't they? But I think things have changed. Things have changed enough. I don't want to be in this trade either way, but what can I get out? Ace says I want to be in it, but I don't have a signal. I tried taking it at 27.28 and it didn't. Oh, okay, so now there's a downtick. Fairly significant. I think I should pull here. This is that one where it's like if you get filled, you don't necessarily want to be filled. That might have filled me. They saw that he went short, and that's why the E-mini ticked up there. Although it's looking a little bit better to go for those now. And sure is stubborn though. Like here in this area, there's not a lot of volume trading. It's all short, but it's not actually that much volume. About 10,000 contracts short now on the day though. If it doesn't happen, if they save it, then you're gonna see you see a real good short squeeze. If I hadn't have pulled my order at 04, I still would not have gotten filled. Only 17 contracts traded. It's now been almost 20 minutes. Okay, well, they're trading the low now. There was a little bit of iceberging there, and they already backing off of it. Well, that might not necessarily mean anything. Yeah, see, they got right back to it. I would really be like to have just gotten out here. Or here. I'm just curious. Okay, so they did break new lows. But I'm noticing two things. One is that the liquidity in the treasuries actually just increased significantly. And two, there was some absorption on the move down. Just because the trade worked out, it doesn't mean it was a good trade. Do not trade this at home. The treasuries thickened up there. Big iceberg at 05. Man. Is there going to be a 10K there? This is not a spot. This is not the right spot. You could fade that iceberg, but if it goes through, see, the E-mini is actually trading decent size here. They busted through it. They tried to push it back down, but it's holding. It's now 8:31, so I know that if I'm not in a winner by 8:30, that's usually not good. I'm just not seeing a clean spot to get out, you know? Okay, well, the E-mini is pausing and maybe even buying now. There was a stack at 04.5, by the way. Okay, this was 10K. Now it's balanced at 05. E-mini's definitely buying. Didn't like that stack. Yeah, like that. That was like a no, really, I'm serious sort of a stack. Definitely a turn in volume. Long in E-mini. But Treasury's not responding to it. Spread maybe a little bit steeper. The partic value is like way overdone though. They're gonna have to sell this. Normally they would have to sell this. Like if the E-mini pushes up much further, then they're gonna get squeezed. Somebody's gonna get squeezed. It's probably me. Look at that. E-mini's moving up and it's still moving up on me. There's no reason that trade worked. That was a risky trade that I wouldn't recommend. Well, what kind of, was that just a gut feeling sort of a thing? Seems they're going for your stop. It sure feels like it. So this kind of one is frustrating to me because clearly I should be out. And maybe if I see something that could get me back in, but I'm not seeing the exit, you know? I'm not seeing the exit. It still looks negative to me. Like that we're gonna have to move down. But I can't seem to catch a break. I guess I could have gone out at 05 there. Because there's that big stack at 04.5 too. That's the other thing. I don't know at what point that thing showed up, but that's not something that you want to have between you and your break-even price. Not even a gut feeling. I just wanted to get in FOMO. Okay. Well, that tick down kind of equalized things, so. Lucas says, "No, I don't believe you." It sounds very uncharacteristic of Ace, doesn't it? There's some more buying in the E-mini coming in. 28-27 is kind of like a step. So if they get back into that, that's positive. And again, if treasuries can get below 05, like especially if 04 half went offer, that would be really significant. The 05 price does seem to be fighting them a bit. Like that. It seems like somebody is willing to sell a bit there on the offer. They're doing it passively. Yeah. Puts up a little bit at 05 and they sell it back. See? 400 that time. I suppose it could be going the other way. Some of those are pulling as well. Okay. Man, it's doing it a lot. E-mini continues to move up as this does this. 24 even looks like really, really balanced in the 5-year. Huh. Jeez. Oh man, that price has gone back and forth a ton now. Lucas says I want to be short 05 so bad. Oh, 050. You should put the trailing 0 so I know which instrument you're talking about. Okay, now now the 04 half is pulled. It's 26. Only 1,000 to clear it. And there was 6,000 stacked there at one point. This is starting to look like a flipper. And there's a big stack at 05 half. That's what's going on now. Okay, now there's another iceberg at 05. They're trading it really aggressively. See, it seems like that we have interests on both sides here. And the buyer doesn't want to give up, but so far the seller is winning. I mean, making 04 half go offer, that was a significant victory for the sellers. And the E-mini continues to tick up. That buying prevents me, yeah. Okay, so see 04 half goes offer, but it doesn't stay. Nobody trades 04. Okay, so relatively significant stack on that downtick that time. Kind of changed in the 5-year. It's not like for good. They're back to the open price, by the way. Let's clear these up columns. The fact that sellers are willing to sell 25K at 05, but not that much at 045 keeps me from going short. It seems like they've drawn their lines, and the seller's line is at 05. The buyer, we haven't actually seen his line yet, have we? It may be at 04. Okay, now the E-mini is starting to look very positive. Okay, so it's not 04. You're starting to see some real sell volume come into the 5-year as well. And I see that target at 22.5. That's been there for a while. Now, it'll be interesting if they can get 03 half to go offer and stay offer. Do they stack at 04 half? Man, they're just not really. The thing is, the sell volume came into the 5-year, but not really the 10-year. E-mini's still buying though. Also, that buy, in cumulative delta at least, not that much. But look at how far it went. Okay. So there's an iceberg at 04 now. So he has moved his order down. Only 37 that time. Well, that might have just been all you needed. The E-mini did kind of pull back a little bit there. this trade is kind of weird. That I've gotten what I have so far, I think is maybe some sheer dumb luck. But you can see here, the selling came into the 5-year. It definitely did something in the equities as they moved up. But the 10-year is not really responding to it. The 10-year, the market orders have been long. And you just got this massive passive buyer. Or sorry, passive seller that sold a ton at 05 and even some at 04.5. But then they get through it. And I couldn't get more than 04. Huh. I never had an MFE of more than 1. This setup is extremely unusual. Well, the seller is probably the spreader. That's probably why. But who's the buy? Why is he buying? Hmm. Now some sellers hitting that 05 and it's holding. And ZB kind of looks like it wants new highs, in fact. Now buyer at 05. So you keep holding off because I think that they're going to break through it and then it's unclear. The other issue is that where I ended up taking this was not the bottom. Sorry, it was not the top. It was just like the worst spot in the range, frankly. 04. The open price and everything. I think those sellers at 05 might be longs from 31.5 liquidating. That could be. I'm guessing it's spreaders because the knob spread continues to flatten. That would explain why there's so many market sellers willing to do it. So the question remains, what's the buyer thinking? I think the E-mini is going to try and squeeze those shorts out. That move up was so strong and they didn't really recover a lot of cumulative delta. So there's probably still a lot of people short that are hanging on for dear life. See, yeah, that's a good uptick. Still pushing. It's fighting her, but it's not the regular session high yet in ES. Okay. So there was a bid iceberg at 05, right? And they've gotten through it. Every week we get at least one, sometimes two nice moves. The rest of the week is usually subpar. Well, usually you get a good move on Wednesdays, maybe the Thursday. I don't know. I think that there's usually a good 4 ticker in almost every day. E-mini came back there so fast. Seems really stuck. Treasuries are actually starting to look like a head and shoulders patterns of sorts, except for that the volume doesn't match up at all. And the market volume in the 10-year is absolutely long. Somebody just really wants my order. That's what it is. He's like, I'm willing to spend 20,000 contracts to screw over Seth today. Teach him a lesson for being in a trade for, what is it, 40 minutes now. That's never good. Should have taken the 04 when it came back. I should have set it here or here so that it would fill and it'd be out and gone. And done. PCH. Dash. That doesn't look too good. Nah, level 2's toying around a lot. They're at 05 now. Because there's been so much trade there at that price now. So that's another thing, is having a short below what is now the point of control. Aha. Okay. So they finally took 05. That's interesting that it took 26.48 to clear it, but they did sell all of it, and then a pretty good stack as well once they did so. E-mini looks like it's going to try and buy up again. But I'm still skeptical about this trade, man. This is the one where you take it at this time. The thing is I took it at like 8:15 or so, right? Jeez. I know that when I take one, that 8:30 time period is just really slow. I don't know why I can't get myself to get out of it. That time the 05 is stacking to 3. Okay, now the 5-year is trying to buy into 24 and there's an iceberg there. Equities, by the way, never really recovered cumulative delta, even though they got above the VWAP and they had some decent uptrend. E-mini, it looks so slow. Big NR at 14 ZB. Oh, yes, I see now. A big order up there, yeah. Well, I think that they're probably going to push me out. I got lucky and I wasn't able to take it off break even. And it flips and they trade it down again, 05. See, I don't know what my problem is. This is different action. Every time I see that, I think, oh, well, they're probably going to sell it. They're probably going to sell 04 half. But then, look, it goes bid again. There's some more buying coming into the E-mini, though. Coding overload. Probably need to, probably shouldn't be at max quality, I think. Okay, well, now that it's 9 o'clock. Iceberg at 05 half. All right. Hope you're happy. Hope you're happy, Phil. Good grief. That just... I wonder what it was that made me pick such a bad spot. You watch. As soon as I leave, they're going to sell the fuck out of it. You know that's what they're going to do, right? Since Seth's not in there anymore, there's no reason. That's always the way it goes. There's the wife getting the dogs out. Yeah, it's time to go. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was probably not fun to watch. Mistakes were made. It's not a big deal. It's just -4 on the day, but what you gonna do? Sure, yeah. Take 05 offer now. Screw you guys. All right, you know what? That's okay. Tomorrow's going to be a big day, ADP. And then after that, I don't know. Might not be such a good market anymore. But we'll see. I will catch you guys tomorrow. Make sure hit that like button for me. That really helps the videos. That video the other day, you guys all gave likes, and it did really well afterwards. And I think we picked up a couple of new people because of that video. So thank you for that. And leave a comment on how the day went for you. Again, if you haven't subscribed and hit the bell icon, I would recommend doing that. It makes it a lot easier to find the stream when we go live. So yes, I will see you guys tomorrow. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.